So one last topic on this chapter that feels like physics, laws of motion and all that, but actually it's closer to home. Earth, as some of you may know, I don't know, I've never lived on the coast, but we have our oceans actually go through tides. Our oceans have tides, and as it turns out, it's every 12 hours you can have the water kind of go up higher on the beaches, a high tide, and then go back out. Okay, every 12 hours it kind of cycles. And it actually cycles because of Newton's laws of gravitation. And the gravity is occurring between the moon and actually kind of our large bodies of water. So our large bodies of water can be lifted up off of the earth, and actually, if you think of that, that's what when the water swells and comes up on the beach, that's because the moon is pulling it up, right? Actually, it's pulling it up, but there's kind of a lag between the time when it's influenced and the location of the moon. But that's it. So one other thing though before I leave that is notice that you can see on this figure there's a bulge over near the moon, and then there's also a bulge over here on the opposite side of the first bulge that's created by the moon. And actually the back bulge, this one over here, this is also created by the moon. So we actually have two bulges. So that as the Earth spins, as the Earth rotates on its axis, shown here, okay, notice that these are 12 hours apart. Okay, so that's kind of how that works. So the moon is kind of creating that bulge kind of in advance of where the moon is. So related to that then, is we do have kind of these extreme tides. There's something called the spring tide. Spring, I think of kind of springing up. Spring tides actually occur when the sun gets involved. So when you have the sun and the moon in a straight line to the earth, you can have these spring tides. So actually we have it occurring at new moon, okay, and at full moon we have these kind of extra high tides, which I can't remember which, there was a kind of a fall hurricane one of these years that came up and slammed the New England states, and actually the problem is that the hurricane hit during spring tide. So, and then we have the opposite, we have called neap tides. So neap means that actually it's kind of a diminished sort of tide. Again, you'll still have tides every 12 hours, but what happens here is that actually the sun is going at a right angle to the moon. So the moon is pulling tides up, but they're a diminished tide. We call those neap tides. So we have this right angle occur during the quarters. So we have first quarter moon, you have a neap tide, and third quarter moon, you'll also have a neap tide.